Good morning, good evening to everyone, whoever is watching this video from whichever part of the world. It's totally going to be a very fascinating episode. I'm very intrigued by doing this episode myself because of the kind of opinions and thought process that people have surrounding this issue. Okay, the issue we all know, and I'm going to talk about that, is the Usman Tariq action issue. Now let's look a little bit deeper into this whole suspect action or illegal action or chucking or however you want to term it. Let's look a little deeper into it for answers. Way back in 2014, 2009, and even before that, there have been incidences of people with suspect action being reported and then eventually tested, and some of them being banned and some of them being cleared. Now, what is a suspect action? A suspect action is a position where the elbow bends and then it straightens for a significant advantage. For example, when a bowler loads, this is the loading point. Every bowler will load, like the spinner, fast bowler, they'll load it. It's bent here and then it goes behind through and then it straightens eventually here. Obviously, you can't see my palm here, but in several cases, the bowlers can have a bent elbow, okay? Now, a bent elbow alone doesn't mean that the person's action is illegal. If this bend eventually moves on to a straightening, when there's a jerk and a straightening, that is when it is illegal. How much is it bent and how much is it straightening? And that's where the illegality of a bowling action truly begins. In several cases, the bend can remain like this and the bowler can bowl the ball like this. The bowler can flick the ball and the bend is not straightening. A bent arm is still advised or still understood to be a legal action only when this bend is used for a distinct advantage by straightening it to get a sort of a catapult action on the ball is when that particular action can be termed illegal. Let's go back in time further. Once upon a time, there was no rule that there was not a rule that suggested any particular degrees of bend. Okay. And there was an instance in Australia where an umpire called a bowler on field. He called the delivery a no ball. I mean, a square leg umpire is allowed to look at the action and call it on field. Ever since that episode, you don't see umpires calling bowlers' action illegal on the field by calling it a no ball. Are they allowed to do so? I probably think they are. But why aren't they doing it then? Because the ICC, when they tested these bowlers' actions and several other bowling actions, they said, okay, let's allow a margin for this. To keep it ramrod straight will be difficult because there could be some deformity. For some people, the elbow could be slightly bent. Even if they try to straighten it, it won't. So let's have a small aspect of the bowler's elbow bending up until 15 degrees. Ever since this 15-degree rule was introduced, the on-field umpire just stopped calling bowlers on field. They never called a bowler for a no ball. Maybe there could be one or two cases here and there in domestic games or elsewhere where they've called a no ball, suspecting a bowler of an illegal action. Why did the international umpires or umpires governing a televised game or a match referee has refrained from calling a bowler is because to ascertain whether the elbow is bent more than 15 degrees with the naked eye without the support of technology or video footages is not next to impossible. It is impossible. So if somebody calls it, it will be in a vague amount of guess. Now, the next layer of problem for an umpire is he needs to report the action saying this action is suspect for me, and then it will be called upon for testing, and then the testing results will come and the bowler will be advised whether he has to take remedial course or which part of his delivery is okay and not okay. For an umpire to report an action suspect, he must have a clear vision. In all of these cases, I talk about something called as a precedence. How do we correct things from the past? We correct it on the basis of historical evidence, and then we make changes or we make ramifications in terms of correcting a certain scenario. Now, in the case of suspect action, over the years, all bowlers, mind you, all bowlers have consistently used a full sleeve on their arm. What happens when you use a full sleeve? The sleeve can sag and make it not look clear for the umpire on the field to be able to judge. Despite that, several occasions, the umpires have reported suspect actions in the past. even in recent IPL scenarios, there have been actions that have been reported, and in many cases, surprisingly, the bowler has been able to return to play very quickly. Now, this is where the issue is. For example, how do you train when you're young? You're always taught in every academy or any organization or any structured cricket organization, they teach you to bowl with a straight legal action and not bend your arm.